Greetings, and welcome. Welcome to Tinasha Gray Show here on 106 Live Radio. It's a great day. It's a great morning. We're continuing our 40-day wellness journey right here in the Tinasha Gray Show, 106 Live Radio. This is the place where excitement meets diversity 24/7. What we're talking about this week is intellectual wellness. We have been on a 40-day wellness journey, and today is day number 25. Now, we have a very beautiful discussion already set, but again, feel free to chime in, feel free to come in with different perspectives of what this whole topic means to you. And so, we're talking about social etiquette, recognizing that as we grow, we ought to learn and feed ourselves information so we can be better professionally, personally, wherever you are. We want you to live well, move well, and be well. Here is Dr. Curtis Minter right here. He's hanging out with me today, along with other guests, and you're going to get to hear who those are in just a little bit. Dr. Curtis, welcome in, sir.
I am here. I'm a student of the word today. So today is going to be a learning curve for me because even though I know how to carry myself in some social areas and stuff, but it applies to everything I do with the refereeing, with the interaction at church, interaction on the street, grocery store, no matter where we're at. Yeah, we're there.
All right. And as we talk about this, what does that mean to you? Because I'm sure with the young ones that you have under your belt and you're taking good care of them, what does this really mean to you? This whole idea of having conduct.
Well, it's definitely behavior because we need to teach them not only by what we say, but what we do. And as we live a life in front of them, because they know when we get upset or me and my wife have a intense discussion, they understand and then they're real quick to get on us to like if we're not doing some adequate stuff of arguing or whatever. But then I point the finger back at them and say, "What y'all arguing about?" So it goes both ways, but it is a learning curve for everybody.
Absolutely. And as we take this journey into this whole idea of being intentional to learn and grow on this week, intellectual wellness is a big deal. We talked about finances yesterday, how we can be so much more of a lifelong learner to the point where we can find ways to deal with our finances. And that was a great conversation. But today we're talking about how to behave ourselves in social setting, how to handle the crowd, how to sit at a table, how to have these conversations. The times when we receive an email and we never respond, that's
Right,
part of it
right.
too. And the texts that we just go over, we receive a photo, we're so happy to receive it, we're sending it out to everybody else, but we never come back to say, thank you. That is part of social etiquette. The times when we just walk into spaces and never say good morning. Children, I hope you're listening. That is part of social etiquette. We're talking about these things because it really do matter. It matters a lot how we behave ourselves, not just in our home, which it starts at home, but also when we go outside into the public arena. So let's continue the conversation with our special guest today, Dr. Curtis.
Yeah, it's definitely influence because we are influencing people everywhere we go. So that's why we got to carry ourselves decently, even when you're driving and you have other people in the car. Don't be screaming and hollering at other drivers. Pray for them and bless
Mhm.
them. It's so much better to be a blessing than cursing things and stuff like that. So we do need to carry ourselves because there's so many eyes watching us.
Wow. And as they watch, they're watching to be taught how to behave, how to react. And it's a big deal that we're doing what we ought to be doing in the midst of the children, especially today. We have an audience. We have young ones in our midst from different perspectives of life. And there must be one standard. I believe in the absolute. And the standard is going to be discussed today with our guests. They are Dr. Carlton Truesdale and Pastor Linda Truesdale. Welcome in. Welcome in. So glad you're here to speak with us today. Pastor Linda, Dr. Carlton?
Thank you very much. And we're just happy to be here today. So it's really an honor and a privilege to be able to share this topic that we're talking about today, especially because we have an audience of young people today here live in the studio. And we're going to do our best to share what we know to try to benefit them.
I agree with my wife. I think a lot of us in this world don't know how to get along, don't know how to behave. And I think if we can add to the information that's out there about how to do that in a way that doesn't neglect us, but helps us come together, unifies us instead of separates us. I think that is really a good thing for us to do.
Wonderful. And what are some of the things we're going to discuss in just a little bit?
So I think my wife is going to actually show a place setting and what are the utensils at the table and how you are to understand how to use them. So all of us know how to eat in terms of putting it in our mouths and digesting and chewing. But in terms of the things that are in front of us, the plate, the glasses, the silverware, some of us don't know exactly their use. And so we're going to get some idea of how to do that. I think the other thing that we really want to talk about is, how do we behave in other settings? Like, how do I behave in corporate America? How do I behave, just socially, say I'm downtown, like Curtis talked about. I mean, we have to be good examples to people. We can't be the ones who are showing, negative attitude before we even really have to. We need to be trying to come together instead of have conflict and confusion and chaos.
I'm so excited. I'm excited about this, especially as we have an audience. I just think it's one of those weeks where we don't usually have individuals in the studio with us that we can really call an in-house audience. And this week, God favored us. He allowed the children to be home from school. So, we gathered a bunch of the coolest kids and we brought them in.
That's right. They are in the house, and just by the raise of their hands, how many would you would want us to act wrong all the time, or would you want us to have social etiquette? If you would like for us to act right, show your right behaviors, just raise your hand. Raise your hand. Yeah.
Okay.
They don't want wrong example. I mean, we got 100% in here. We got 5 wonderful children in here, and it's 100%. So even the kids would want to see adults act right, speak right, and there's some people they don't even know how to talk without cussing, using what I call compound verbs and stuff. And the thing is, it's not necessary. We can handle ourselves, handle our business, handle our influence, do our perspectives in the right social way.
Well, I'm excited. We are becoming, if nothing else, we are doing the best we can as citizens, right?
That's right.
Kingdom citizens to give perspective and, influencers, if not anyone else but our children, our grandchildren, the nieces and the nephews, the neighbors. We are influencers all around the world. And so we thank you for being here. Text someone, call them, let them know Tinasha Gray is on your radio. We'll be right back in just a little bit.
Broadcasting live from Atlanta while serving the entire globe. It's the fastest growing radio on the web. It's 106liveradio.com.
Learning in person.
All right, everybody settle down. Find your place, please.
Getting back to the moments we miss starts with getting informed.
Listen, get your books out. We're going to start here with chapter
Get the
3.
latest info about COVID-19 vaccines at getvaccineanswers.org. It's up to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Worried about your friend but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR. It's so good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Whatever gets you talking. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
Source of Wellness Ministries presents the Epic Marriage Conference. With excitement and passion, you can expect and prepare for a dynamic session packed with inspiring, educational, and empowering content from authors, inspirational speakers, and marriage advocates. Jason and Tinasha Gray. To increase your foundations of intimacy, passion, and commitment in your marriage, book them for your upcoming seminar, workshop, or conference. For more, visit sourceofwellness.org or email them at info@sourceofwellness.org.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late. We stay informed. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring for our veterans.
Hey friend, at Journey to Hope LLC, we know that life is moving really fast. We want you to have hope to cope and be at your best, because your mental health is our greatest wealth. It affects how we think, feel, and act. A positive mental health allows you to realize your full potential, work productively, and make meaningful contributions to your family and your friends. We here at Journey to Hope join you on the Tinasha Gray Show 40-day wellness journey to living a balanced life. Connect with us on Facebook, Journey to Hope LLC, and on the website, www.journeytohopellc.com. Make sure you go ahead and give us a call at 470-377-1738. Hey friend, we're here to help.
And for that we have each other. And for that we have each other.
Download the 106 Live Radio app. Click on the headphones and choose 106 Inspiration. Your time of refreshing has come.
This discussion is made possible through the Source of Wellness Ministries,
a ministry designed to promote balance between soul, spirit, body connection. At Source of Wellness, we believe optimum wellness is achievable. We encourage you to experience the difference with connection to the source.
As wellness enthusiasts, our focus is to live a well-balanced life that pleases the Lord Jesus Christ. A well-balanced life gives you direction. It keeps you on the right path that ultimately leads you to the fulfillment of your divine calling.
Our mission at Source of Wellness Ministries is to facilitate comfort, coach through wellness education, and empower you to live well, move well, and be well.
To get more information and to learn more about our ministries, who we are, our beliefs, and mission, please visit us online at sourceofwellness.org. Please email us at info@sourceofwellness.org.
Our book series and written testimony are all available on Amazon.com. We pray that you are inspired to live a full and abundant life, to aspire to wholeness and your overall health and wellness.
Hey, it's Kimberly with our checkpoint number 4, becoming. Becoming is the process of coming into existence or coming to be something. It's causing someone to look attractive or having a flattering effect. It is to begin to go or grow to be something. So basically, we need to be on our way somewhere to be becoming it. It's about movement and action. So I have a question for you. Where is your journey taking you? What are you becoming? In this world, everything moves fast. It's important to guard against just going with the flow. That can lead us to becoming overwhelmed, judgmental, and generally just out of sync. Today is as good a day as any to take account of what road you're on. If what you're becoming isn't where you want to go or what you want to see, it's time to make some adjustments. Our thoughts are a good first place to start. Our thoughts guide our movements, aid or detract from our motivation, and ultimately reveal what's in our hearts. Our thoughts are also often the root cause of our behaviors that we are looking to correct or adjust. One way to adjust our thoughts is to change our inputs. Increase your understanding in areas God desires you to be in. Read a book, listen to a podcast, do some research so you can gain a new perspective or a strengthened perspective on what God wants and what you want. Knowledge often leads to a greater investment. Your personal growth and development are an investment in not just the kingdom, but also yourself. Take an inventory of where you spend your time. What do you watch or listen to? Who or what do you give your ear to impacts what you think and affects what you are becoming or growing into. This is good practice, whether it's quarterly, monthly, weekly, or even daily. What we hear shapes our thoughts. Our thoughts shape our lives. If faith comes by hearing, then what we listen to or allow access to will affect what is in our hearts. Are you becoming what you want to see or be? If yes, what are you doing to keep that momentum towards your good health, creativity, and growth? If not, it's time for a pivot. Today is a good day to see or assess the road that you're on and check what you are becoming. I hope it's what you want. If not, we know how to change it. I hope this is a time of good expression.
Tinasha Gray is on your radio. 106liveradio.com, where excitement meets diversity 24/7.
Welcome back to Tinasha Gray Show here on 106 Live Radio. We are in this place for such a time as this. We know many are just relaxed, after this whole time of being at home. We get to sit in our bed and eat. We get to do a whole lot of things. But today on the Tinasha Gray Show, we want to bring back the social etiquettes. We want you to listen in as we talk about how important it is to have good conduct, how to behave well. Remember to use the things that the parents taught us, right? The things of like basic manners. We are continually harping, and even though the doctor said my children have autism, I'm gonna continue to pour into them and impress upon them that good manners make man, right? And so as we have this conversation today on the Tinasha Gray Show, this is a wellness junction. It's a 40-day run to get us in line. And while we know it's a lifetime of work and practice and learning and growing, we're committed to this 40 days staying on task. Day number 25. Dr. Curtis, what are we talking about today?
Oh, we're talking about social etiquette. Man, we need to know how to behave, carry ourselves, and we need how to conduct ourselves, because sometimes even as adults we get the emotions gets twisted, or our attitude may get twisted, and we may not put off the very nice persona. So we need some to look at this social etiquette.
So this is a very interesting topic today, because we often say here on the Tinasha Gray Show that healthy starts here. And so it starts now, whereby we change we change our behavior. We change the things that we've always done. I guess we go to places and we just do whatever we want to do, It's kind of like a very low key time. People forget how to gather. Some people are even comfortable not going out anymore, doing the take take away food and eating from the styrofoam containers and the paper plates. But there is such a time when we have to understand what glass this is, what fork this is, what cup we're looking at. Is it a champagne glass? Is it a flute? What are we looking at? And we never take the time to learn that. But as lifelong learners, I know the Truesdales are on the mission of learning and growing as well. So tell us, more about even a casual setting, and then you can show us what that formal setting looks like.
So you're absolutely right. We've gotten to a place where we are fast food, microwave, instant society, where people don't sit down at the table anymore like they used to and have dinners together and set the table and that type of thing. And so today we're just going to talk about how to properly set the table setting that we have set up today as a very informal, basic table setting. But we can also talk about formal table setting and what the table etiquette is, because there is an etiquette around eating when you are either at a fast food restaurant, you could be at McDonald's or any place else, and there is an etiquette around eating. I mean, people don't think about that when they go to McDonald's or Burger King or someplace like that, and they go up to order their food. There's even an etiquette, a social etiquette when you walk into that place, or when you come to the drive-through window and you're ordering your food. There's an etiquette about ordering your food. There's an etiquette when you come on the inside of McDonald's or Burger King or wherever it is. When you go up to that counter, there's an etiquette that we need to have about ourselves. When you sit down to eat those French fries or the burger or whatever it is that you're going to eat, there's a way that we should do it. And so we're going to just talk about those things today, proper etiquette, and how, proper etiquette really even makes your food taste better. When you see a nice table setting, it makes you feel like, oh, there's going to be some really good food coming on that plate. I mean, and even if the food isn't good, the experience of sitting there at that table and you have nice silverware and you have nice plates and nice napkins, it just kind of makes you feel good. So today we're going to just talk about the basic table setting. And we have one set up here in the studio. And what I'm going to talk about how it's set up here at the studio. It's really easy to think about how to set this table. So let me give you some keys. The basic table setting. One of the tricks to doing it, to know what to do when you sit down at a table setting that's like this, and you're not sure what fork, what knife, what spoon should I use? What should I do? One of the easiest things that you can do is think about the word forks. Okay, the order, left to right, F for the fork, left to right, F for the fork, O for the plate. You see the plate is there in the middle. K for the knives, which is next to the plate on the right-hand side of the plate, and the S for the spoon. So we didn't mention the R, but you get the idea. The F is for the fork. When you think of the word fork, F is for the fork, which is on your left-hand side. You see where the fork is located. The napkin is to the left of the fork. And then the O is for the plate, because it's a circular shape. Sometimes people have square plates, but it's a circular shape. So that's the O, that's the plate. And then next to the plate comes the knife and the spoon. But there's another trick that you could use as well. And it's about holding your hand out in front of you. And so you want to just take and hold your hand out in front of you, and you make a B with your left hand and you make a D with your right hand. And so with your left hand and the lowercase d with your right hand, that reminds you that on the left hand side of the plate goes the bread and the butter. See, you got a B there. So the bread and the butter go on the left hand side of the plate. The D represents the drink. So your glasses always go on the right-hand side of your plate. And when you're putting your knife and fork down, you go from the outer edge, the furthest side. So when you look at the table, the left-hand side, there may be a salad fork there. That's the smaller fork. So you go from the left to the right with your eating utensils. So on your left-hand side is your fork. You take The smallest fork, that's if you've been given salad. That's for the salad. If you're not having salad, you just have the one fork there. And your fork is always on your left-hand side. Your knife is on the right-hand side, but the blade always faces in towards the plate. You never turn the blade of the knife on the outside, facing out towards the spoon. It's always facing inward toward the plate. And then you have your spoon. And then your glasses, like I said, they're on the D, and your right hand side, they're on the right hand side. You might have a cup that goes on your right hand side as well, because you're going to be drinking from that. But when you're in a more formal setting, you might have spoons that are up at the top, and it always is the outer edge first, working in towards the plate. That's how you use your utensils. You go from the furthest to the inward when you're using your utensils, okay? So the knife blade always faces the plate. Then when you take your napkin, the napkin goes on the left-hand side of the plate. Some people like to put napkins on top of the plate. It depends on how you want to set up your table. But basic table setting says the napkin goes on the left-hand side of the table of your plate. Your bread and butter knife, they're optional because sometimes people don't have bread and butter, and so you don't have to always worry about that. But that little plate that's sitting there at the top, that's your bread and butter plate. And there's usually a little butter knife that goes on top of the plate. And so you use that knife to butter your bread and your whatever, your rolls. The knife that is sitting next to your plate is the one that you're going to use to cut your meat with. And if you're having steak, you would normally have a steak knife there as well, so that you know that that's the knife that you're going to cut your steak with. And so when you set your table, it really depends on what you're having for dinner, because you may have dessert dishes there. You may have more glasses. If it's a more formal dinner, you're going to have more plates and saucers and cups and that type of thing. And you have different kinds of glasses when it's a more formal dinner. But this is the basic sit down everyday dinner. The little plate that's on the top can be used for your salad or your fruit or anything that, if you have food on your plate that's kind of runny, you always want to put that on your salad on the smaller plate. But if you have meat or whatever and it's not a lot of gravy on your plate, you could put your salad right on your regular plate, the bigger plate with the rest of your food. But if it's something that there's gravy, you want to put your salad on the separate plate, because then you want to be able to have your dressing not running into the rest of your food. So this is basic. And when you sit down to eat, you want to take your napkin, unfold your napkin, and put it on your lap. You open the napkin all the way on your lap, and that napkin stays on your lap throughout the meal. It's not something that you're going to use to blow your nose on. If you have something on your mouth, you're going to take your napkin and you're going to gently dab your mouth to take whatever it is that's on your mouth away from that, and your napkin goes back on your lap. If you have to be excused from the table, you always ask your host, is it okay to be excused from the table? And if they give you the okay to be excused from the table, you take your napkin and you place it on your seat. You do not put it on your plate. You place it on your seat until you come back. And when you come back, you place your napkin back on your lap, because that's just proper etiquette.
Mhm.
So those are just a couple of the basic things. And then there's some more things to think about when you sit down at the table. You don't want to slouch. You always want to sit up and have good posture when you sit at the table. You slouch, that just doesn't look so good. You wait for the hostess or host to sit, and they put their napkin on. You never start eating your food until they start first. Whoever is hosting your dinner, when they begin to eat, then you eat. But first and foremost, and a point that I forgot, before you sit down at the table, you should always wash your hands. You don't want to come to the dinner table with dirty hands. You always want to wash your hands before and after every meal. You sit up straight. You put both hands on the table, but never put your elbows on the table. You're not going to sit there like this with your elbows on the table. That's not proper etiquette. Your elbows are off the table. That's right. Yes. That's the way to do it. And then you start with the cut, like I said, the fork and thing that's furthest away. And when you eat, you always take your time and eat slowly. I know there are people in my family that eat very fast. I mean, it's before you begin to eat your food, half the plate is gone. Some of my grandsons, there's some fast eaters, but you're supposed to just take your time and chew your food and just eat it and just enjoy the food that's in your mouth. You don't speak with a full mouth. You don't lick your fingers, even though sometimes it's finger licking good, especially when you're at a more formal kind of dinner. You absolutely don't want to lick your fingers. Although sometimes it's like, ooh, I just need to get all that goodness off my fingers, that gravy and all that sauce and all of that kind of thing. Unless you're having finger foods, like you could be having little finger foods, that's okay to eat with your hands. But if they're not finger foods, you should not just be picking up your steak in your hand, that whole steak, and just chowing down on it.
Trying to take a bite out of it.
Trying to take a big bite out of that steak. There's a way to cut it. And when you cut your meat, you're only supposed to cut the piece that you're going to eat then. You don't have to cut everything up on your plate at one time. You cut, you eat a piece. You take your time, and then when you're ready for the next piece, you begin to start cutting that. Okay? And when you're being served, you always thank the person. You always say thank you. When they bring you another drink, you say thank you. If they're one thing that used to really bother my husband is like when one of the kids didn't like something that we were having, and they would instantly frown up their face and they would say, "Oh, this is nasty." What do you think that does to a person when they hear, "Oh, this is nasty"? You may not like what you're eating, but one thing my husband would always say, "We don't need to know it." Because sometimes one of my kids would say, "Oh, this is horrible. This is nasty." And that puts in the mindset of somebody else that this may not be so tasteful, so tasty. And so that kind of dampers the rest of the meal for somebody else. So you want to be aware of the people that are at the table with you. Another thing, don't smack your food. Don't smack your lips. Because sometimes we like to... That is, for me, that is so irritating. It bothers me.
Oh, yes.
To nth degree to hear people smacking their food. Some people, maybe they just enjoy it that way, but it's not. And also it tells you not to ask for more food. If you finish, wait until you're offered more.
Okay. Yeah.
That's good to know.
You may want more, but wait until you're offered more. Because many times, people will see that, oh, he's still looking at that plate of chicken over there and he might want another piece. Wait until you're offered. That's proper etiquette.
Wow.
And like I said, always excuse yourself from the table if you need to go to the bathroom. If you need to sneeze or anything like that, excuse yourself from the table and do that. Don't do it at the table. Don't chew up your food and then take it out of your mouth and just sit it down on the plate, because that is really kind of disgusting. But if there's something in there that you don't like, what you want to do is take your fork, take it out of your mouth with your fork, and you set it aside in your napkin or whatever. You never just spit it out on your plate. And when you're finished eating, the proper etiquette is to take your plate off the table. If your hostess allows you to do that, then you take your plate off the table and you ask, is there anything I can do to help you with cleanup or anything like that? But also, when you're eating, you want to remember that when you want something on the table, say you have all your bowls and things that are right there on the table, when you're passing food, you pass to the left. You always pass to the left. When somebody says, well, can you pass me the potatoes? You pass them to the left. And if there's potatoes on the other side of the table that you want to eat, you ask someone, could you please pass me the potatoes? Or could you pass me the chicken? You never reach over the table to grab the food. You always wait. I mean, it's proper etiquette and
Wow.
proper manners to do that.
Wow, that was some great information.
Man, that's some good stuff there.
Okay.
Oh, one other thing I wanted to say, always compliment your hostess or host. I mean, tell mom, that was good. Dad, that was some really good food. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay.
All right. Well, we have a lot to practice. Gentlemen, young ones, we have a lot to practice, don't we? Yes? Okay.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, but we can do it.
We
You know,
can
as
get there.
parents, we're committed to reminding you
Yes.
of what it is that you need to do. And if you follow our lead,
Yes.
like when
Yes.
we say good morning, you say good morning. When we
Yes.
say thank you, you say thank you. When we say excuse me, and we're showing manners, you follow suit, right? And if we prompt you to do something, you take our nudge, right? Because the Holy Spirit prompted us, so we're prompting you. And if you follow our lead, you'll be all right. And then obedience is the key, because obedience keeps you safe and happy. And so
Yes.
adults, we have to practice that too, because others are watching, especially the children. They're like sponge, really. So we have to keep on practicing the right things at all times. When we slip up, they fall all the way back. So we have some work to do. We'll be right back in just a little bit to share more on this topic.
Broadcasting live from Atlanta, while serving the entire globe. It's the fastest growing radio on the web. It's 106liveradio.com.
150 over 90.
180 over 111.
160 over 110. I had a stroke.
Your blood pressure numbers could change your life. Lowering them could save you from having a stroke. If you've stopped your treatment plan, restart it or talk to your doctor about creating one that works better for you. Start taking the right steps at manageyourbp.org.
Now I'm, trying to get better, stronger than ever.
Hey, hon, what you doing with your phone?
Do flowers have best friends?
I don't know. Hey, look.
Whoa.
Some answers can only be found in nature. Discover the unsearchable. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a trail near you. Brought to you by the United States Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Youth with a Mission Caribbean Partners, Inc., Wayne and Cheryl Mitchell, with Youth with a Mission, YWAM, Grenada, exists for you to experience Christ-like transformation in your life, our community, and the nations. This is an informational message to let you know your missionaries need your spiritual and financial gifts. YWAM helps each person to learn how God has equipped them to minister in the local church and in their daily life. Thank you for your support. Your donation makes a difference. Our mission is to establish the kingdom of God through the equipping of young believers in church planting among the nations. If you would like more information on some of the ministries and staff in Grenada, contact Wayne and Cheryl by emailing charmich@gmail.com or visit their website at www.ywamgrenada.org.
Get it? Is it safe? It's okay to have questions about COVID-19 vaccines. Now get the facts. Visit getvaccineanswers.org so you can make an informed decision when COVID-19 vaccines are available to you. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
This is Reese B., a student of Atlanta Metropolitan State College, bringing awareness to bleeding disorders. So let's take the opportunity for our community to band together and spread the word about the issues that affect nearly 3 million individuals annually. With a disorder such as von Willebrand disease and hemophilia, during Bleeding Disorders Awareness Month, We invite members, families, and supporters of the bleeding disorder community to join us in educating and raising critical awareness and funds to improve the lives of those diagnosed with the bleeding disorder.
Source of Wellness Ministries presents the Epic Marriage Conference. With excitement and passion, you can expect and prepare for a dynamic session packed with inspiring, educational, and empowering content from authors, inspirational speakers, and marriage advocates. Jason and Tinasha Gray. To increase your foundations of intimacy, passion, and commitment in your marriage, book them for your upcoming seminar, workshop, or conference. For more, visit sourceofwellness.org or email them at info@sourceofwellness.org.
COVID-19 has changed the way we do everything. If you have a product or service, if you own a business, 106 Live Radio is the place for you. We've got some options for you, whether it's interviews, whether it's advertising, whether it's just sharing with our listening audience what it is you do. Please contact us at advertise at 106 Live Radio, and we will give you the options that will best serve you. Don't let COVID-19 destroy your business or entity. There's hope. Give us a call.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to tell everyone else,
ladies and gentlemen,
about 106liveradio.com.
This discussion is made possible through the Source of Wellness Ministries,
a ministry designed to promote balance between soul, spirit, body connection. At Source of Wellness, we believe optimum wellness is achievable. We encourage you to experience the difference with connection to the source.
As wellness enthusiasts, our focus is to live a well-balanced life that pleases the Lord Jesus Christ. A well-balanced life gives you direction. It keeps you on the right path that ultimately leads you to the fulfillment of your divine calling.
Our mission at Source of Wellness Ministries is to facilitate comfort, coach through wellness education, and empower you to live well, move well, and be well.
To get more information and to learn more about our ministries, who we are, our beliefs, and mission, please visit us online at sourceofwellness.org. Please email us at info@sourceofwellness.org.
Our book series and written testimony are all available on Amazon.com. We pray that you are inspired to live a full and abundant life, to aspire to wholeness and your overall health and wellness.
Download the 106 Live Radio app from your Google Play Store. Or find us on the TuneIn app.
And we are here for some empowerment and encouragement on the Tinasha Gray Show. We have Dr. Carlton Truesdell, who has been a guest here with us today, just sharing all about social etiquettes. Let's talk about it, Dr. Carlton. What are some things that you would encourage us to do whenever we gather at formal settings and even, just in general?
In general, we're going to be able to meet with people we may not know, or they may not know us. So we have to be able to know how to greet people. That's an important activity. And for some people, it's awkward. So how do I do this? Well, the first thing you should do is introduce yourself. My name is. And then, you can ask the other person, and you are? And so they can give you, their information. And so it makes it easy. It doesn't make it a difficult task. I think most people wouldn't say, I don't want to hear, who you are. I don't care about that. They may do that in a setting where you're not really there to meet each other. Like if you're on the street going down, talking to someone saying, I am, who are you, might be disturbing to people because strangers don't necessarily have your best interest. But if you're gathered together in some event or meeting, it should be appropriate for you to know who you're with. And so that's part of courtesy, part of being polite, and part of being civil. So we don't want people to think, oh, you're untouchable. And even though, some people are quiet, doesn't necessarily mean they have nothing to say.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I've learned that for myself, that sometimes you can't just be quiet. You have to speak, because there's something that somebody can get from you.
Those are important things to remember when we're out and about and we are at gatherings where there are many other people who we are bumping into. I feel like that's always a good time to introduce yourself, especially when you've bumped into them for the second time. The first time you can pass it off, but the second time, hello, I'm Tinasha Gray and you are? Right? And that strikes a conversation. We were at a gathering recently, and when the folks introduced themselves, we found out that 4 of them had a connection. 4 of them had a very intimate connection that broke out in tears, that caused them to really get to understand the level of care that God has for us, that He would put people in the same room, to make sure that you understand how loved you are. So again, introducing ourselves to each other can be one of the most rewarding thing we possibly can do. So let's keep going on our 40-day wellness journey. We'll be right back to have more conversation like this with Dr. Carlton and his beautiful wife. We have Dr. Curtis in the house, and we have a camp full of children. We're having a camp meeting today, and the children are invited and welcome to join in for the entire session. Can you believe it? Not just 10 minutes, but the whole session. We'll be right back after this break.
Download the 106 Live Radio app. Click on the headphones and choose 106 Inspiration. Your time of refreshing has come. Streaming live from Atlanta to a global audience on your favorite device. From Source of Wellness Media, we are 106inspiration.com.
The Tinasha Gray Radio Show on 106 Live Radio. Experience the difference.
There's a brokenness inside of you. There's a wound that still reminds you of the fear, shame, and rejection. You've seen it, you've seen it. You know it's time to get up, but your heart's paralyzed, you're so stuck. You're past the point of trying again. You're defeated, you're defeated. There's something inside you can't deny. You hear the call of your creator who made you for more. Unlock the door. I wanna restore your glory. So rise, breaking the dark, piercing the night, you're made to shine. An army of hope, bringing the world a radiant light, a radiant light. You were made to rise, rise. Lift your head and look around you. See the dreams you lost, they have found you. And the heart that once was beating is coming back to life, coming back to life. But something inside you can't deny. You hear the call of your creator that made you from more. Unlock the door. I wanna restore your glory. So rise, breaking the dark, piercing the night, you're made to shine. An army of hope, bringing the world a radiant light, a radiant light. You were made to rise, rise. Shut the door on yesterday, leave what happened in the graves. You were made to rise, you were made to shine. Creation longing for the day, for kings and queens to take their place. You were made to rise, you were made to shine. Rise, breaking the dark, piercing the night, made to shine. Bring the world a radiant light. Rise, breaking the dark, piercing the night, you're made to shine. An army of hope, bringing the world a radiant light, a radiant light. You were made to rise. You were made to. You were made to.
It's the Tinasha Gray Radio Show, brought to you by Source of Wellness Ministries, counseling and wellness education. Live well, move well, and be well.
Calling all wellness enthusiasts. Other champions have partnered with 106 Live Radio and the Tinasha Gray Show. Join us as we take the wellness journey to optimum health and wellness. As a team, we will lead and assist others in every way possible. Daily, you can expect us to inspire, educate, and empower you. We are on the journey to living a well-balanced life in Christ.
Tinasha Gray is on your radio. 106liveradio.com, where excitement meets diversity 24/7.
Greetings and welcome back to Tinasha Gray Show here on 106 Live Radio. We are so excited to be engaging in conversation that develops our mind, allows us to grow and become even so much better. And when we talk about better, we're also talking about healthier and more relaxed. I want to get comfortable doing what I know I'm supposed to do, right? And so as we talk about these things on the 40-day wellness journey, we know that others are being impacted by the discussions of the day. And today's day number 25. Dr. Curtis Minter is here with me. How are you feeling about the topic so far?
Well, today 25 is amazing. And so just kind of back to the table, when we enter the room, we do need to greet everybody. And then, a key thing is be on time. Be on time. And then, when you're shaking somebody's hand, shake it firmly. Some people shake and they just grab the fingers or whatever. If you're greeting that way, shake their hand. And so, even when you're sitting there at the table, sit like a royalty. You may not feel like you're inside, but we said the other day, we fake it until we make it, but we are royalty. Sit like royalty and dress for the occasion. And and then when somebody's speaking, look at the person that's speaking, give them the respect and social etiquette is what it is.
Wow. Well, we are so grateful to even have the Truesdales in the house. Just being able to learn from Mr. Truesdale, Mrs. Truesdale, to be able to be shapen and shaped by them. I thank God for what you taught us thus far. We know there's more as we continue to have this discussion today, but we want to switch gears to social media. Social media is the thing of the day. It's where people are communicating constantly. How do you feel about that conversation, Dr. Curtis?
Well, even when we're sitting at the dinner table and stuff, we need to put our cell phones away because that causes interruptions and stuff. And we need to give priority to the guest and the people that we're with and respect. So, but then, boy, that cell phone, ooh, it can be a great tool or it can be a disaster. And boy, when you look at social etiquette, oh my goodness, I know, ooh, our guest got something to say about that.
Okay, and so we have the pleasure of having Nicole Noray. She's a branding specialist, a social media guru. She's here with us on 106 Live Radio team. You may not see her because she is behind the scenes most of the times, but she is the person to go to for this conversation. Nicole, welcome to Tinasha Gray Show. Please share with us what sort of things we need to know on this day.
Hello, everyone. It feels so weird to be on the other side of the Tinasha Gray Show, but it's such an honor to actually be appearing on your show. Let's get into this. So we know that social media is it's not another world. It's actually a part of our world.
That's right.
It's hard to get around social media, no matter what generation you are. Social media is part of your life right now.
Yes.
So if you're new to learning about social media, you're a guru like myself, or you're like in the middle phase of you're kind of in, you're kind of out. There is a way to handle and conduct yourself during social media while you're on that phone. And so let's start with something really, really simple. I have about 5 or 6 tips, but let's start here. Inbox and direct messages, just a typical greeting. So social media, a lot of people say, oh, social media is not my real life. Yes, it is. It is a part of your life. And so just as you would send a text message in a proper greeting, you would go into someone's direct message on Instagram or inbox on Facebook with a proper greeting. On LinkedIn, you want to send a proper greeting. You don't just go in somebody's LinkedIn and say, what's up?
That's right.
You say, hi, hello, hi, Miss Truesdale. I'm reaching out to you regarding whatever it is you're regarding. It's formal. It's not informal. Now, if I am sending my sister a message, it may be a little bit different. But if I was to send Dr. Curtis a message, it would be different. If I was to send Dr. Truesdale a message, it would be different. I would probably say, hey, Dr. T, because I have a relationship with him already, but I would still greet him accordingly. So the first thing we want to know is that we treat social media as we would treat any other greeting if we was in person with that, if we were physically next to them, or if we were texting them. So that's the first thing. We want to use a proper greeting when we're using our messages. Okay? So now let's go into something that's really interesting that affects your public image, but your private image. Using emojis properly. Okay?
What's emojis?
Emojis are virtual reactions. So you could do the haha, the laughing face, the love. You can do just a like. You can do the crying emoji. And then now they have the red one where it's like, I'm mad. I'm really, really mad. And so that you can show different emotions through emojis. That's why it's called emoji. Emoji is a virtual emotion.
Right. Okay.
It's called emoji. Yes. And so it's a virtual emotion. So when someone says, oh, it's just social media, it's not real. No, it's real. If you put that mad emoji on my picture, you're mad at me or you're mad about the picture. And so we want to use appropriate emojis at the appropriate time. Now, some people, whether you're in a relationship or marriage, if you are putting the love on the opposite sex picture, you may need to speak to your partner about that. There's some things that are just boundaries. There's boundaries with emojis. Some people that are are in relationships don't want their partner putting the love. Maybe a like is okay, but maybe a love is crossing a boundary.
Right.
And it's okay to talk about that, because what did I just say? I said social media is your life. It is your real life. As much as people try to just like gaslight it or down social media, what you put out there is truly who you are. And, or at least that's what we're going to think.
Right.
Because remember,
right.
there's also a part of social media where you can portray something.
Oh,
You
definitely.
can portray to be somebody else. So let's just go through the first one. So use the proper greeting when you are in the direct messages, when you are inboxing someone. The second thing is using the proper virtual emotion. And we learned that emoji means emotion. It's a
Okay.
virtual emotion. Okay. The next thing is social media etiquette is that you want to remember that you want to put out a positive image.
Right. Right.
It's your account, it's your social media account, and you're responsible. And so if you are saying you're a positive person and you are a Christian or a follower and you do right when you're not on social media, you want to make sure that reflects and you're doing right on social media as well.
Kind of
So
like
put it
practice as you preach, right?
Yeah, practice what you preach.
Okay. All right. I got you.
Because social media is going to hold you accountable for that. They're really going to hold you accountable. Whether you're pretending to be somebody that you're not, it's going to be talked about, right? So putting out a positive image is social media etiquette. If you are posting things that cause division, or if you're posting pictures of yourself that's not in a positive light, this is all part of social media etiquette. Why? Because you don't only represent yourself, you represent your spouse, you represent your children, your business partners. All these things are part of social media etiquette. So the third point is that we want to promote a positive image of self on social media.
Yes.
Do you agree, Dr. Curtis?
I agree to that. Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I didn't have this in any order, but this is a big one for me. So the fourth one is no argumenting on social media.
Oh, I know
It's
that's
not.
right. Ooh, yeah.
It's done, and it's done daily, in milliseconds. It's not proper etiquette.
Wow.
And there's a difference between debating and engaging in just a conversation, such as the Tinasha Gray show, where you can get in the chat and you can
Right.
post a comment. And then there's a difference between argumenting, in the chat on social media.
Right.
And so argumenting on social media does not promote a positive self-image.
Right.
It actually brings bad synergy, because you can pick up on synergy through social media as well. It doesn't look good, again, for yourself, your partner, your business associates, your community. Argumenting is just not a good thing, okay? And we know that I don't like to speak of him, but Donald Trump will be the best example of argumenting on social media.
Right.
And though it is very entertaining, as when he did it during his presidency, when others do it, it's entertaining, but
Right.
it's not a positive image. It's not proper etiquette for social media. People will actually hold you to arguments.
Yes.
So engage in debates, but let's not argue. Let's leave that for something that's worthy. I mean, I don't even like arguing at home. I'm not going to get in front of the World Wide Web
Right. Right.
and
Right.
argue. That is like cringing. Don't you think so?
Right. Right.
Yeah, it's very cringing to argue, and you're arguing in front of the entire world. And guess what is a good note to make of that?
What's
You
a
can't
good
take
note?
it back.
Can't take it back.
You cannot take it back.
Wow.
So they say words hurt,
Right. Right.
right? Words hurt, so do comments hurt.
It's kind of like the tongue. The tongue is TONGUE. It's a ton of glue without the L. So whatever you say sticks, whether you're saying something good or you're saying something bad. So even in print, in words, as you put those words down, they stick.
Yep, they stick. And you can go back and apologize and message that person, or make a comment, but we're talking about the World Wide Web. Whether you apologize or not, that apology is going to be taken note of, but you can't take it back. Even social media is interesting. You can go back and delete something from being seen at that very moment, but it's still in the back end of the internet.
Wow.
where people can go, and it happens a lot with the blogs. They go back and pull up things these public figures say from years ago, where
Yes.
you may have deleted it on your Twitter account or on your Facebook, but in that back end, it's still there. So you can't take back social media comments and interactions.
And that
So
definitely could be used against you big time.
yeah, so handle yourself appropriately. You know what? Another thing, and this is not just for business owners, it's not proper to be overly promotional on your social media.
Right.
That means don't over promote your kids.
Right.
Do not over promote your business.
Mhm.
Do not over promote the purse you just bought. Don't over promote the car you drive every day.
Or your book.
Or your book.
Yeah.
Even if it's your book,
Right.
Evangelist Curtis. You don't want to over promote anything on social
Exactly.
media. It's another version of boasting virtually.
Wow.
Yeah, don't overly promote. You want to have a good balance of putting all aspects of you on social media. You don't want to just, a lot of people get social media because they're like, oh, I get on social media, I'm rich now, and I'm just going to keep promoting my book every day, you're promoting my book.
Right.
It's really annoying.
Yes.
But it's a virtual form of boasting, right?
Wow.
And it's a big arrogance that leads people to not interact with you genuinely. So don't overly promote anything. You'll see once you keep overly promoting, if this is you and you're listening, you're watching, if you're overly promoting, you see that your engagement will go down, because social media is to connect.
Right.
We can connect with people in South Africa,
Yes.
Canada, all over the world. And the last thing is, people want to know all aspects of who you truly are. So let's not overly promote, because it's very rude and it's a form of virtually boasting. And we know what that causes. That's not good.
Yes.
So that is not really practicing good social media etiquette. Show us all aspects of you. Yeah, you can post about your book a few times, but
Right.
not every single day.
Right.
You know what that reminds me of, Nicole? It's kind of like when you're having a conversation with someone and you're in a room with a bunch of people and all you do is sit there and talk about yourself. You know, after a while, people are going to be like, you know what, I'm tired of hearing this,
That's right.
and really they will disengage from the conversation and do an exit stage left as easily and as quickly as they can, because all you're doing is sitting there talking about self.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of when you were saying that.
Yeah. And actually, that's, we can go all day, but those are basically the main pointers I want to provide everybody with today about social media etiquette.
What about when people are always putting inappropriate things on social media? It's like, of course, it's a turnoff for me, but
Well, they're not promoting positive image.
Exactly.
And that's rude. You would not show up to dinner or go to the mall, with that type of image or wearing that. And if you did, you probably should be arrested for indecent behavior. So don't do it on social media. It's the same thing.
That's true.
Wow.
Great information right
Yes.
here. We're talking about this whole intellectual wellness, and I feel like we're growing taller.
Yes.
And Nicole, I just thank you so much for coming and sharing about all these. There is so much that you shared, both you and the Truesdales, that we did not know. And no judgment with that. We're growing, we're learning. And so I have to check with you with a couple emojis to make sure
Yeah.
that
Yes.
I'm on point. If not, I got to reconnect and recalibrate and,
right.
ask for apologies and stuff. This is big. And I get it. It is real at the same time. We'll be right back after this break.
It's the Tinasha Gray Radio Show on 106liveradio.com. Experience the difference.
Heart attacks and strokes don't stay home. So don't avoid the ER out of anxiety. Don't die of doubt. If you have an emergency, call 911. When seconds count, the hospital is the safest place to be.
Worried about your friend, but don't know how to reach out?
You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat with them in VR. It's all good. If you think you should check in, yeah, you should.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Whatever gets you talking. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org.
We're here early before they wake up. We stay late. We stay informed. We invest in the latest technology.
We take the time to train the next generation of doctors and nurses. We work together to make sure we heal their bodies and their minds.
We do this not because it's our job, but because this is about our veterans' lives. This is our mission. More than 300,000 of us working as one, together with families and loved ones. No matter where they live in this country, we'll be there.
We all come together and stand together to serve our veterans. We stand strong, united. Stand with us in caring
Wash your
for our
hands,
veterans.
avoid sick people, and touching your face. There are everyday actions to help prevent the spread of respiratory diseases. Visit cdc.gov/COVID-19. Brought to you by the National Association of Broadcasters and this station.
Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and be sure to tell everyone else.
Ladies and gentlemen.
About 106liveradio.com.
This discussion is made possible through the Source of Wellness Ministries,
a ministry designed to promote balance between soul, spirit, body connection. At Source of Wellness, we believe optimum wellness is achievable. We encourage you to experience the difference with connection to the source.
As wellness enthusiasts, our focus is to live a well-balanced life that pleases the Lord Jesus Christ. A well-balanced life gives you direction. It keeps you on the right path that ultimately leads you to the fulfillment of your divine calling.
Our mission at Source of Wellness Ministries is to facilitate comfort, coach through wellness education, and empower you to live well, move well, and be well.
To get more information and to learn more about our ministries, who we are, our beliefs, and mission, please visit us online at sourceofwellness.org. Please email us at info@sourceofwellness.org.
Our book series and written testimony are all available on Amazon.com. We pray that you are inspired to live a full and abundant life, to aspire to wholeness and your overall health and wellness.
Hey, it's Kimberly with our checkpoint number 4, becoming. Becoming is the process of coming into existence or coming to be something. It's causing someone to look attractive or having a flattering effect. It is to begin to go or grow to be something. So basically, we need to be on our way somewhere to be becoming it. It's about movement and action. So I have a question for you. Where is your journey taking you? What are you becoming? In this world, everything moves fast. It's important to guard against just going with the flow. That can lead us to becoming overwhelmed, judgmental, and generally just out of sync. Today is as good a day as any to take account of what road you're on. If what you're becoming isn't where you want to go or what you want to see, it's time to make some adjustments. Our thoughts are a good first place to start. Our thoughts guide our movements, aid or detract from our motivation, and ultimately reveal what's in our hearts. Our thoughts are also often the root cause of our behaviors that we are looking to correct or adjust. One way to adjust our thoughts is to change our inputs. Increase your understanding in areas God desires you to be in. Read a book, listen to a podcast, do some research so you can gain a new perspective or a strengthened perspective on what God wants and what you want. Knowledge often leads to a greater investment. Your personal growth and development are an investment in not just the kingdom, but also yourself. Take an inventory of where you spend your time. What do you watch or listen to? Who or what do you give your ear to impacts what you think and affects what you are becoming or growing into. This is good practice, whether it's quarterly, monthly, weekly, or even daily. What we hear shapes our thoughts. Our thoughts shape our lives. If faith comes by hearing, then what we listen to or allow access to will affect what is in our hearts. Are you becoming what you want to see or be? If yes, what are you doing to keep that momentum towards your good health, creativity, and growth? If not, it's time for a pivot. Today is a good day to see or assess the road that you're on and check what you are becoming. I hope it's what you want. If not, we know how to change it. I hope this is a time of good and refreshing. Stay well, guys.
Download the 106 Live Radio app. Click on the headphones and choose 106 Inspiration. Your time of refreshing has come.
Tinasha Gray Show presents 40-Day Wellness Journey, powered by 106 Live Radio. Hosted by wellness coach and marriage advocate Tinasha Gray. We encourage you to tune in for some empowerment with our special guest speakers. Daily, we broadcast at 10 to 2 p.m. simulcasting on 106 Inspiration and the Epic Radio. I'm Dr. Curtis Minter. I declare in your ordinary life, you will experience extraordinary and supernatural blessings from the Lord God Almighty.
Tinasha Gray is on your radio. 106liveradio.com, where excitement meets diversity 24/7.
And we are back right here on 106 Live Radio, folks. Thank you so much for being here on this beautiful day. We thank our guests for coming in. Thank you, Pastor Linda, Dr. Carlton, and Nicole Naray. This has been great conversation thus far. Dr. Curtis Minter is here co-hosting with me. What are your thoughts, sir?
Well, social etiquette is exactly how it sounds. It refers to behavior. You resort to social situations, interactions with your family, friends, coworkers, or strangers. You expect to follow social norms in order to coexist and live in harmony. And, harmony is a key. And a lot of times we're outside of harmony because we do not know how to react socially in these events.
It is true. It is true. And, while we have these conversations, there are some things that I would say you don't address in public, right? There are lots of times when you want to address the issue and it seems like it's either now or never, but the emotions that we face would say do it now. And a lot of times we have to wait. Let's talk about some of those moments when we ought to conduct ourselves in appropriate reactions to things that are happening around us. And instead of, let's say, laughing at a fall, you ought to jump in to assist and be diplomatic. If someone is not having a good day, how do we respond? We might be having the most super fantastic day ever, but it doesn't mean that we flaunt our joy. There's just some social things that we need to address. Let's talk about it. Whatever comes to mind during this time, let's share about these social interactions that we have with other people.
I have one where, say in a meeting, someone is giving their idea about a certain topic. And then you hear, and I'll be specific, say it's a female, says a certain thing, and it's kind of interesting what they've said. And then you hear a male voice basically say the same thing, and yet a person in the room responds as, "I heard the male, I didn't hear the female."
Wow.
And basically diminishes the female.
Mm.
So I know what I've done in the past is say, well, that's very interesting that, you've basically repeated what, my colleague here has just said.
Right.
I think we need to hear from her. Maybe she has some more ideas to add.
Mm.
So you kind of try to become a referee without being called a referee.
Right.
Mm.
And
That's
you don't
down my
need to
alley.
be the president of the company to speak that way.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, you said you don't have to be. That's
You
very
don't have to be.
okay.
Right.
But there's a diplomatic way in which you
Right.
do it, right?
Right, because I didn't criticize the person who said, I just said they added. Right? I didn't say they took away anything, because they could have added something to it. But I'm saying, let's remember the person who started the discussion instead of, such and such has a great idea.
Sure.
It's like you omitted knowing it came from someone else.
Okay. I can see
it's
that.
It's kind of like building the other person up. If somebody's even struggling with that ideal or that concept, and you think you can help them because they may start off strong, but then they kind of going downhill, to not diminish their ideal and help them in that situation.
I mean, typically what happens is if somebody hears what they've just said,
right,
and yet everybody thinks that person is the one to get congratulated,
right,
that person will shut down. The other person shuts down.
Sure. So that's actually collaborating, pulling people together, and without really embarrassing or diminishing what that person said, which we're all saying the same thing. But I get it. So the diplomatic thing to do is to point out that other individual had made the very same or similar comment, and now tie it together and bring it back to that person so they can finish what they started.
Wow.
So it doesn't diminish the person that originally started the conversation. So they feel like they're a part of it, and what they had to say was valued as well.
Okay. Wow. Point well taken. Great insight there. What else can we see as other common things that happen in the midst of social gatherings?
I think a lot of times, I see this happen. When I was out in California, we were in a grocery store, and this woman was very unhappy with what was happening in her shopping experience. And she gets to the register and she takes it out on the person that's checking her out. And her kids are there. And I mean, she is cursing and just loud and just really making a spectacle of herself. And a mother was standing behind her with her daughter. And so mom is trying to shield her daughter as much as possible, but you couldn't really do that because the woman in front of her was making such a fuss and just so negative and ugly. And so the mother, once the other mother got outside, she was able to talk to her daughter to say, this is not how you behave when you're in public. And then even to get to the register, when I got, it's like, I'm really sorry that you had to experience that situation, because we see people around us doing things and saying things a lot of times. And I wanted to say something to the woman that was doing all the cursing and all of that, but I knew that could have probably created a much bigger problem for me and everybody else. But it's just that if you're with your kids, when you get outside or to the car, you could say, honey, that's an example of what not to do. We don't want to act like that when we're in public. And when we're in public, if we have a disagreement with somebody, the store clerk or whatever, then you go to the manager in private and you talk to the manager. And maybe if it's possible to pull that person in to have that conversation, but you don't do it in public and just try to verbally bash them like that.
That's where, a soft answer turneth away wrath. Yes. And it's just like in those situations, sometimes we can choose to be a peacemaker.
That's right.
Or we can choose just watch and stay away. But there's sometimes that we can put our hand in that midst to maybe even cause distraction, to calm somebody down, calm the children down, or whatever, and help out. So, I had a confrontation sometimes when I'm refereeing wrestling. This one coach, he just really don't like my personality, but the guy that was my lead official, he went over to him and say, "Wait a second. Now I want you to understand about Curtis. He is a peacemaker. So talk to him decently. Even if he's making the wrong call, we can work this thing out." And so we choose to be that peacemaker, or, not even look at the situation.
Wow. These are all very normal things that happen.
Yes.
That we have to navigate around. These are social, social gatherings that it just brings out either the best or the worst in us. And I think oftentimes we can wait to address these things. Like the emotions within us build up to the point where you either do something now or you lose the momentum.
Right.
But it takes, like Dr. Curtis said, a soft answer to turn away wrath. It takes the wisdom of God,
Yes.
to really say to yourself, this, if you want to be effective, this would not be the best time
Right.
to address it, because we're going for the effect. Like if you truly want an answer, now is not the right time. You won't get the best out of that person. So you have to pick your battles. You have to decide, if I truly want this resolved, I'm going to speak with the manager in a
Right.
private setting. I'm going to ask for someone in authority. How many times do we get the phone call from maybe the messenger?
Right.
And, we're so upset about the situation that we want to address it with that person right now.
Right.
We want to let them know that I'm leaving your company. I'm not doing this. Please take me off the list. But it's not the right person. They're just the messenger. They're
right.
just the cashier. They're just the individual who is carrying out the task for the higher authority, and they're not in a position to make any other decision than what they're doing right now. So it calls for us to go through protocol.
And right there in that moment, we have the opportunity to show the light and the salt that we are created inside of us. And so that's why, we never may know, even when somebody's misbehaving or doing something wrong socially, we may not know what they're going through, but we can step up to the plate and show the God that's in us, and we could change their whole life.
Yes, for sure. For sure. I've lost quite a few friends along the way. Not a whole lot, but it has been at least 2 or 3 that I can remember, because they failed to respect a boundary.
Yes.
And so let's talk about the whole idea. You go into someone's house, and at the time we had more of an ivory carpet. The entire house was ivory carpet. And so our policy was, take your shoe off at the door.
Right.
They didn't get that concept, even though it was posted. And so when we, confronted the situation and said, would you please take your shoes with your guest at the door, they got offended. All right, so they took it off, and we always have socks at the door and things for people to be comfortable with. But then the second thing came, whereby they were changing a baby on the couch in our formal living room, and we had a baby at the time. So we says, we do have a baby room with a table, which would be more comfortable for you. That threw them out of the loop. And so, how do we behave when we go into people's homes? Can we talk about that?
Well, definitely
for a little bit.
One thing we have to be is the right type of guest, or to handle our guests. And everybody's house has their own rules and regulations, and we need to respect that. So it's something that we have to do.
Okay.
Right. We have to be respectful of the person. Absolutely. And I think about, even when you go to someone's house that may have a different cultural background than you have, that the norm in your home may not be the norm in theirs.
Exactly.
And so, it's like, okay, you really need to do your homework and know exactly where you're going and who you're visiting. I mean, if there's relationship, then you kind of know that person. And a lot of times how they are in their home, that they're demonstrating that in their personality and when you're with them outside of the home. But you go in first and foremost respecting the fact that I'm visiting someone else's home. This isn't mine. What I do in my house. My husband used to get so upset when the kids' friends would come over and they would put their feet up in the furniture. It would drive Carlton up the wall. They've got their feet in my couch and all this, or put the feet on the table or something like that. And it would just drive him crazy. And we would try to tell the kids, please tell your friends. Because they didn't really put their feet in the couch and stuff. So why would we allow your friends to sit there? And so you had to do it as tactfully as you possibly could. And sometimes it wasn't that tactfully, but it would be, could you please take your feet out of the couch, and, your feet belong on the floor kind of thing. So try not to be offensive. But this is that's what you do at your home. But we here in our house don't put our feet in the furniture.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you definitely got to know your audience, whether it's at home or you're going somewhere. And, that's why you carry yourself the way you're supposed to. But then, like Miss Linda said, you got to be very respectful of going into somebody else's home, their rules and regulations and stuff like that. Just like at our Adventureland at our house with the zip line and all this kind of stuff. You just can't jump on the zip line and go down because there's some safety protocols. Got to have the harness on right, Cindy? And you got to have it hooked up and you get up to the right place and we kind of make sure everything's all clear and then we zoom down the zip line. And so, there's protocol.
There is. And when we are going into someone's home, we're always open to their instructions.
That's right.
Yes.
Like you said, the host or the hostess should be seated first and we'll follow them.
Right.
So we're taking instructions from them. If they're saying this is off limits, if a door is locked, you just don't go in.
That's right.
There's just certain things that you do but you wait for their leading.
Right.
And no problem in asking, can I? Until they say, come on, mi casa es su casa.
That's right.
Make yourself at home, be comfortable. And even with that, you still respect their stuff. You take good care of it as if it's yours. You don't do anything to damage stuff. So we get it. But when it comes to the children, why aren't we telling our children, okay, you're going over to the Truesdale's home?
Right.
Follow their instructions, go by their lead, and they're the ones in charge. Whatever they say is what you obey.
Right.
Exactly.
Because I think about when my kids were small and I would take them over to my girlfriend's house and she would tell me, she said, Linda, I'm not moving anything off my table. And, the kids are curious. They want to touch all of that. But she would tell them, nope, I'm not moving anything and you are not to touch that. And I was okay with that because this is her house. And, I knew that she didn't have kids either. So that made a big difference too. So you're coming to someone else's house. You have kids. And I had 3 very small kids. And so I'm in her house. And so you try to tell them, don't bother her things. But kids are just curious. But she did it in such a way that was, playful. She gave them something else to occupy them. It was like, okay, I understand that these are touchy-feely kids and I need to hand them a ball or something. But yeah, you have to remember that even if you have kids and you're going to someone else's house, that there's certain things that they'll do in your house, but other people really will not tolerate it in theirs. So, you just be respectful and they understand it as well because you've already talk to them about it.
Yes. Wow. This is great conversation.
Yes.
And it's all about the coaching, I think. Because for my children, whenever we're going somewhere, I tend to coach them in the car before we get there. We'll sit there and we'll agree, whenever we're going out of town and in places that are not familiar, the ABB rule comes into play. Absolutely best behavior. And all I have to say is ABB.
That's good.
ABB.
I like that.
I need to remember that one.
With a serious face, because now it means you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't do this. And number one, we always stay together. That's the number one rule for anywhere that's outside of the home, into a library, a museum, wherever we are. we stick together. We stay together because we don't want to get lost, and we want people to know that we are together.
Right.
So, there are some things that we have to talk about and coach our family and our kids. And whatever you're doing, we're saying you're creating a culture. You're doing that with your family, but understand when you go into another person's home, you're going into their cultural setting, what they have set for themselves, and you are to follow it to the T. We'll be back in just a little bit. We're thanking God for this conversation because I believe iron sharpens iron, and that's what we're doing today. Stay tuned.
It's the Tinasha Gray Radio Show on 106liveradio.com. Experience the difference.
Broadcasting live from Atlanta while serving the entire globe. It's the fastest growing radio on the web. It's 106liveradio.com.
Before we celebrate the freedom most Americans have, we must fight for the freedom all Americans deserve. Because no matter your religion, gender, disability, age, race, all lives can't matter until Black lives matter.
Educating parents and caregivers about the importance of making oral hygiene a priority at every age is essential. Anytime is a good time to talk about nutrition, brushing habits, flossing, and the importance of fluoride. Families that follow good oral health together are more likely to inspire children to adopt healthy habits that last a lifetime. Please visit www.adha.org/NCDHM for more information. This message was sponsored by Dre Patrick, host of Foreign Matters, every Saturday from 12 to 2 p.m. right here on 106liveradio.com.
Olivia from Washington. Laid off and trying to keep our little kids from realizing that mommy and daddy haven't eaten in a while.
Roger from California. I'm grateful we could afford our son's surgery. I'm nervous that now we can't really afford food.
Daniel from California. Choosing whether to pay the rent or pay to fix the car to get to work doesn't leave us with much at all. Now we can't even pay for meals.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Keisha from South Carolina. I've been skipping meals so my 2 kids can eat, but filling up on water doesn't really work.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
If you're worried your friend may be struggling, remember, you don't have to be there to be there. You could say, how are you, or get a fake tattoo. You could ask with an app if it works for you. You could chat on the game, kick off your flip-flops. You could ask on your couch while you binge watch.
Whatever gets you talking. Reach out to a friend about their mental health. Learn how you can help at seizetheawkward.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, and the JED Foundation.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
Are you thinking of changing your marketing strategy? 106 Live Radio is the solution you need to promote your goods and services. For a limited time only, we are offering special advertising rates on our fast-growing radio network. We can also help you create an audio commercial or a website banner that fits your business needs. It is just that simple. Visit our website at 106liveradio.com for details.
Bringing you the best shows and music 24/7 on your favorite radio. It's 106liveradio.com.
This discussion is made possible through the Source of Wellness Ministries,
a ministry designed to promote balance between soul, spirit, body connection. At Source of Wellness, we believe optimum wellness is achievable. We encourage you to experience the difference with connection to the source.
As wellness enthusiasts, our focus is to live a well-balanced life that pleases the Lord Jesus Christ. A well-balanced life gives you direction. It keeps you on the right path that ultimately leads you to the fulfillment of your divine calling.
Our mission at Source of Wellness Ministries is to facilitate comfort, coach through wellness education, and empower you to live well, move well, and be well.
To get more information and to learn more about our ministries, who we are, our beliefs, and mission, please visit us online at sourceofwellness.org. Please email us at info@sourceofwellness.org.
Our book series and written testimony are all available on Amazon.com. We pray that you are inspired to live a full and abundant life, to aspire to wholeness and your overall health and wellness.
And we are back in conversation here on the epic. It's all epic, yes, but it's the Tinasha Gray Show. That's one of my favorite words. If you listen to me, I tell you before, epic is one of my favorite words. But today we are on Tinasha Gray Show here on 106liveradio.com. And as we engage in conversation, we find that we're growing taller, we're getting wiser, we're sharpening each other. And that, I think, is absolutely beautiful. It's truly gorgeous to see how we grow and develop in the environment whereby we are loved. When you know you're loved, what do? You blossom, and you blossom exponentially because there is just love in the mix that causes all things to grow well. And we're talking today about the intellectual wellness part of man, knowing that we are just bursting, to do what we want to do. But there's a right and a wrong way to do things. There's a time for everything under the sun. Dr. Curtis Minter is here with me to help me carry this message along with the Truesdales. And early on, we had Nicole Noray who shared on social media etiquettes. And we thank God because there are some things that we just don't know. We sit at the table and we don't understand why they have this little fork and this big fork. Why this glass versus the other glass that we're so familiar with. Why is the spoon spread across to the top of the plate? Like, what am I supposed to do with it? When am I supposed to use it? How do I manage this napkin? Do I put it on my food, spread it across the plate when I'm getting up? What do I do with it? There's so much to learn, and we are learning today. Talking about being a lifelong learner, that's what we are. Dr. Curtis?
That's right. We are iron is sharpening iron today, and we're learning that the fork needs to be the blade turned towards the plate. I never heard of that in my life, but it needs to be laying there turned. When we used to at church, we'd have these big outings, and everybody say, "I'm bringing green beans. I'm bringing cornbread. I'm bringing this. I'd sign up at the bottom. I'm bringing my fork." But it is. We need to know to eat with the salad fork or the food fork. We need to know where the soup spoon is. We need to know these things. And because really, like I said earlier, we really are all royalty, and we need to present ourselves. So it's neat.
It really is. And, the Truesdales, both Dr. Carlton Truesdale and Pastor Linda Truesdale, they're sharing just nuggets with us today, and that we are grateful for.
I was thinking while Curtis was talking, and I was thinking about years ago, I heard a very famous woman who's now famous, but at the time, she was telling us that with her kids, she would always set the table. She said, we didn't have plates and forks and all that. She said we had plastic forks and we had paper plates and things, and I would set the table as if we were sitting in the king's palace. And she said her son would always say, "Mom, why are we doing this? And she said she might have put SpaghettiOs on that plate. But she said one day you're going to be sitting across from royalty or someone very important. And when you walk into that room, you're going to need to know how to use the soup spoon, how to use this, how to use that. You're going to need to know etiquette and how to greet these people. And she ended up being someone that was very close to Colin Powell. So she sat in the White House at White House dinners and things like that. Her children sat in those settings. So even if you're not there now, practice with your children. I mean, even little girls, you could take little coffee cups and tea services and all kinds of things like that. And proper etiquette isn't just for the little girls, knowing how to properly eat and how to stand and to walk and those kinds of things, because you never know whose presence you're going to be in. And so you don't want to, first of all, embarrass yourself, but then it's embarrassing to the person that you're with as well. So take those times to find out these little nuggets that you need so that when you're walking in high places, but it's even more than that, that when you're in places where people don't have food to eat, you're able to relate to them as well. So that's all part of the culture, because you can be in a culture where people are walking in sheer poverty, or you can go from the poorhouse to the penthouse. And we should know what the culture is in all of those respective places.
Wow, that's great advice for those of you who are moving from Bankhead to Buckhead.
Hello.
That's good advice.
and I encourage, I know sometimes we may use the styrofoam plates or whatever, but most homes that you go into, the china is setting up in that cabinet and they never use it. Never use it. Pull that china out. You might have to wash a little bit more dishes or whatever. Pull that out on a regular basis and teach your kids how to, use a fine china and the fine plates with a gold rim around it. Use those special forks and knives. Use those things. I just encourage you to do that.
Well, thank you for the encouragement. I will pull it out and use it more.
Yes.
All right.
Not just on Thanksgiving and Christmas, right? And Easter Sunday, but also on a Sunday evening. Setting the table is something that we can get the children involved in. And once we teach them the right way to do it, I believe that we'll be shocked to see what they can put out.
That's right.
So let's keep on just inspiring each other on this beautiful day to keep doing the best we can. We'll be right back on the Tinasha Gray Show here on 106liveradio.com.
Streaming live from Atlanta to a global audience on your favorite device. From Source of Wellness Media, we are 106inspiration.com.
The Tinasha Gray Radio Show on 106 Live Radio. Experience the difference.
I've been through the drought of summer, weathered winter snow. Winds of change have bent me, still I've never broke. I've been set down by the river, anchored by the shore. I drink deep of the water, 'cause my strength is from the Lord. So let the rain fall, let the wind blow. The more that comes down, the stronger I grow. I got roots, and I'm standing on the truth. And it's you that I'm holding on to. And deep down in the ground, firmly planted, safe and sound, and I can't be moved. And I got roots. I live above the surface, I can't see under the earth, but the fruit that I'll be reaping starts its life beneath the dirt. So I hang on to your promise that there will be a harvest, 'cause you are always faithful. You finish what you started. I got roots, and I'm standing on the truth. And it's you that I'm holding on to. And deep down in the ground, firmly planted, safe and sound, and I can't be moved. And you, I got roots. I got roots. Yeah. I got roots. I got roots. Your word is a firm foundation. Every day is a transformation. Standing on the truth of salvation, and I won't be shaken. I got roots, and I'm standing on the truth. And it's you that I'm holding on to. And deep down in the ground, firmly planted, safe and sound, and I can't be moved. And you, I got roots, and I'm standing on the truth. And it's you that I'm holding on to. Oh yeah, and deep down in the ground, firmly planted, safe and sound, and I can't be moved, and I can't be you.
It's the Tinasha Gray Radio Show, brought to you by Source of Wellness Ministries, counseling and wellness education. Live well, move well, and be well.
Holy Father, full of grace, so grateful. I thank you for your presence in this place. Right now, in this moment, I partake. You came here even though we made mistakes. I'm sorry for all the trouble I caused. I even doubted you. Doubtful at times you answered my call. And I'll never understand. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I'm grateful. I'm just glad that you did. I gotta let you know where I stand, Father. Holy Father, so great, one who's great. I didn't understand it, but every lesson gave me strength in my faith. By your spirit, inducing grace. So glad I live to see another day in this race. And I'm really sorry. I'm sorry I did what you forbid. I'm only thinking of myself. And selfishly big, you still let me live. I don't know why. If I had all day, I can't explain it. But I'm really glad. I'm just glad you did. Oh. Real talk right here. And I'll never forget, God, that you came and you stayed. I'm so grateful that you did. When I was on my knees, my cry, I appreciate it. But God, you did at my lowest point, and you didn't leave. And I'm glad that you did. I was alone, but God, you heard. And I'm glad that God, you did. I was there. Never left. Didn't deserve it. You did. You heard me. Each one of my tears. For my sake. You did. Nobody but you. Proved your love for me. Yes, you did. When I was crying, you heard my cry. And God, I'm glad you did. When mama couldn't be there, you came. When my daddy couldn't help me, God, you did. You heard my scream. Yes, Father. I'm glad that you did. You showed up just in time. I could have been dead. You did. Who else could love me? Who else could do that? And I'm glad nobody got it. You did. Nobody got it. You did. I was about to give up. Nobody but Jesus. You healed me. Found me. Held me.
Tinasha Gray Show presents 40-Day Wellness Journey, powered by 106 Live Radio. Hosted by wellness coach and marriage advocate Tinasha Gray. We encourage you to tune in for some empowerment with our special guest speakers. Daily, we broadcast at 10 to 2 p.m. simulcasting on 106 Inspiration and the Epic Radio. I'm Dr. Curtis Minter. I declare in your ordinary life, you will experience extraordinary and supernatural blessings from the Lord God Almighty.
Tinasha Gray is on your radio. 106liveradio.com, where excitement meets diversity 24/7.
And we are back here on 106 Live Radio. Folks, we have been enjoying conversation with Pastor Linda Truesdale, Dr. Carlton Truesdale, and Nicole Naray came in to give us some of her social media tips and protocols. And definitely, they were great information for us to keep on growing. And Dr. Curtis Minter is here with me as a co-host on this beautiful day. We've been talking about just how to really get ourselves in check so that we can become more knowledgeable and wiser in dealing with individuals in social settings and social gatherings, wherever we are. We want to be our best. We want to make sure we represent our family well, right? And as we talk about this, husbands and wives, moms and dads, brothers and sisters, we have to keep each other accountable for the knowledge. And remember to remind the young ones and to remind ourselves that this is not acceptable or this is appropriate. Great job. But whatever we do, we want to affirm and keep on growing together. Dr. Curtis?
Yeah, it's just very important because in every situation, we need to know how to carry ourselves. There's sometimes we do need to say we are sorry or excuse me or, be polite. I think of the 9 fruit of the Spirit need to kick in on this realm because there's times we have to be patient. There's times that we can really truly show kindness and show that we are people of faith. And so it's very important the way we act, talk, walk. So it's just not all our talk. We got to follow it up with our walk.
Yes, yeah. We are learning so much today. We learned about the eating etiquette, just knowing how to use and how to eat with the knife and forks and to set the table with the cups. We talked about the social behavior patterns and the courtesies extended. And just to kind of go a bit deeper in terms of the political etiquette, we heard from others arguing during the opposing views. And Dr. Carlton was just sharing with us before he left that he believed the appropriate thing to do, and we don't agree with someone, is to just ask follow-up questions.
Yeah, questions. Yeah, ask questions. And that's where we need to be sometimes maybe a more listener. And because we already know that their emotions are maybe just out of balance a little bit, or they may have a bad attitude towards something and their behavior might be off a little bit. And we don't want to add fire to the fire. We don't want to add no wood to that fire because it's already burning. So that's where we talked about a soft answer turneth away wrath. And then if we really look at it, we got to say, wait a second. All right. They're hurting in some area. And so, it's not, we don't take it against them and not be judgmental, but just kind of ask questions to help simmer them down. Be that peacemaker.
Yeah, be a peacemaker. I believe the whole idea of asking follow-up questions can really help to soothe, just the fuel and the passion that other people carry, and you may not carry the same beliefs when it comes to maybe finances, economy issue, policies, protocols, procedures, whatever it is. You can just ask questions, because I think for sure, if nothing else, educate me on your beliefs. Educate me on what it is that you really are so fired up about. I want to learn and grow. So tell me more. Tell me more. So asking questions is definitely the way to go. I truly believe that.
And we're just being a good student of communication.
Yes.
Because if we do not want to communicate, if we do not want to listen, if we're just going ahead and turn the person off, we're not growing. And we need to take responsibility for ourselves, because we need to know how to carry ourselves socially.
And on that topic, when you walk into spaces, there are certain things that you should do. Yes, for us in the studio here, we have the common directives and the protocols of the station and the studio, but there'll be things like turn off your cell phone.
Right.
If you come with something to drink, we ask that it's a covered cup, that there is a lid attached to it so that it's not spilling on things. Knock before entering. When you walk into the studio, don't assume that no one is on air. Be very conscious
Right.
of the level of noise in which you come in with. Maybe you're on a conversation on a phone.
Right.
Then we would prefer that you don't have the conversation in the studio. Walk out into the bathroom, the outside, even go take a walk around the block and come
Right.
back if you have to, and you're having a disagreement with someone. Everyone does not have to be a part of what you're talking about.
And even if we make a mess like we did that other day with some chips and stuff, we have to clean up after ourselves. And if we make some kind of mistake or whatever in the bathroom, we need to clean up after ourselves. And that's wherever we go. And that's why I do not get it why people, they unwrap whatever in the car and then they throw it out the window to litter the street. It's like, there's some places, some cities, clean as a whistle. Because they have somebody going around picking up after people, but then there's some cultures or some areas, they do not litter like other places. And then some streets, the garbage is so piled up on the street because people, why not just take that home and put it in a trash can, or when you get close to a trash can or a dumpster or whatever. But no, they got to roll the window down and throw it out the car. I don't get it.
I know. So that might be one of your pet peeves there coming out.
Oh, it's got to be. Maybe a trigger.
Yeah, maybe a trigger, and it's right up there with gossip and dishonesty for me. And we say, just like, don't litter, don't gossip,
right?
Because you're still littering other people's name.
Exactly.
You're just they're not here to defend themselves. So we, whatever we do, we try to do it on a professional level, right? When it comes to garbage, in terms of littering,
yes,
there are a lot of people who have bad habits. They just eat and leave. They just drop things all over. But like Dr. Curtis said, you are to clean up after yourself. And that goes along with recycling too. Find out if people are recycling, before we just mix the trash together. I know there are many cities that would conduct the recycling part of your trash for you. And if that's the case, then you put everything in one package, one lump, one dump. But for some places, you have to ask, are you recycling?
Exactly.
And then you would know.
Exactly.
Another thing for me, when you're in environments, and Nicole mentioned that too, is to stay positive.
Yes.
Stay optimistic. There is enough things happening in the world that can really keep us, burdened down and discouraged, if you will. But if you can find something good to say that. If you don't have anything good to say, then pray, say nothing. But the situation could be so dire already that we don't have a clue what people are dealing with. If it's not a positive correction, something that's optimistic and affirming, then it has to be maybe constructive criticism, but nothing outside of that should really be what we're trying to do. Everything should be geared towards building each other.
Isn't it neat to run into people that are in their 70s, 80s, even possibly 90s or whatever, and they just have a sweet spirit. They're positive, but then you have some other people that, life was hard, but they're in their 70s or 80s or 90s. And of course, that could go younger too, but I mean, all it is negative, griping, complaint. They're griping about stuff on TV. They're griping about this, the service. I mean, the bills, and it's just, so when we age in our human age, let's age with sweetness and be a sweet, caring and know how to get along social and don't be grumpy and complaining and griping, just don't be that sour lemon,
Yeah, we can do that. If we are practicing good manners and good
Yes.
conduct, then we are considerate, we are being honest, and we are being respectful. Those are the basic things, which, if you lump it all together, it's love for humanity, love for others, right?
That's
Just to
right.
be considerate, just to consider not just yourself, because that would be self centered
Right.
and all about you, but to be honest, to be respectful and considerate. These are like ingredients that makes you more of a kind-hearted person, and no matter where you go, you will be that way.
That's like just as easy as saying please
Mm-hmm.
and being nice. And not only that, saying thank you and smiling. Because so many people
Yes.
carry that frown with them and sometimes they don't even know it, but smile, show your teeth, get them lips moving. I know it, it takes less muscles to smile than to frown. And so have that positive attitude.
Mm-hmm. There's so many things that we can really talk about when it comes to this social conduct.
Yes.
But I think we've hit on quite a bit today. And if I have one more to add, I will say don't interrupt.
Oh,
Like,
wow.
children often do that. We as adults often come in because, we think that we have something more important to say.
Right,
But to
right.
interrupt in conversation, that would be something that I would say let's work on.
Oh, definitely.
For all intents and purposes, we all can find something in there. And I would say for me, it would be don't interrupt. Just be mindful that others are speaking, others are having a conversation, and I should not be allowed to butt in. It's not appropriate. What would be your last tip, Dr. Curtis, before we close?
Well, I like to harp on what you was just talking about because I would tell my wife all the time, I said, there's only about two places that you can't interrupt. It's when you're on the radio or TV to keep things going smooth, but in a regular conversation, that's maybe one of my triggers because I want to get my
Okay.
full thought across before I'm interrupted. And you say, well, I knew what you're going to say. I don't care if you did know what I was going to say. Let me say it, and then we can get the full thing. But I just think you was asking about a couple other things. Opening doors,
Yes.
and that can go both ways. Be respectful and always. It's almost, let's keep it 360, looking all the way around, because sometimes we miss some things and opportunities because you never know even what the simplest thing of giving up your seat. You're riding the train or the bus, or you're in some type of, and say, hey, you can sit down here. Or, people waiting in a restaurant lobby and that your health is probably lots better than somebody else's. Say, hey, you can sit where I'm sitting. Just I think it's
Wow.
giving up would be a
Mm.
good principle of social.
Wow. Okay. We have covered quite a bit today. And Dr. Curtis Minter can be found on.
Well, you can find me on Facebook, Curtis Mentor. You can go to our website, power-in-names.com, and reach us there. Reach us here at the radio station, and we'd be glad to serve you. Just like we had a couple last night, came over and we did Power in Names, changed
Wonderful.
their lives in perspective, and it's pretty cool.
Okay. So we're asking individuals to tune in on Sundays for Dr. Curtis Minter and Bobby Minter. You'll find them there, Power Names, 4 to 5 p.m. every Sunday afternoon on 106 Inspiration. Keep it locked with us here on the Tinasha Gray Show. We will be off Facebook and YouTube, but we appreciate those of you who are joining us on the audio portion of our broadcast. Again, hats off to you all. Thank you so much, wellness enthusiasts and the Truesdales who came by today. Dr. Carlton Truesdale and his wife, Pastor Linda Truesdale. Thank you, Nicole Naray, for being a good sport and sharing some social media etiquettes with us on this day. We bless you this afternoon. As you go, stay well. We say stay well, okay? Stay well. You take care of yourself because we ought to do the same. Let's continue to be well in every area of our being. God richly bless you.
It's the Tinasha Gray Radio Show on 106liveradio.com. Experience